Now, a lot of times people have a misconception between faith and blind belief. These two get very confused. People get very confused between these two. Faith and blind belief. And therefore, a lot of people mistake blind belief as faith. And we see it prevalent everywhere. Many devotees, many seekers, they just accept blind belief. When we say blind belief and faith, the difference between the two is one has got a rational backing and one has got no rational backing whatsoever. So in blind belief, there is no rationality to it. There's no logic to it. A person has heard a statement, that statement agrees with them, and therefore they accept it. Either the statement agrees with them, or the personality giving it, they want something from that person, and therefore they subscribe to it. If I want the attention, if I want the affection of the messenger, the teacher, then I just agree to what he says. Because I want his attention and affection, not that I'm actually inquiring into what is being said. So in blind belief, there's no inquiry. There's no inquiry. Person does not think. The other reason we accept blind belief is because it's easy. Because for most of us, thinking is hard. Thinking is tough. In this world, thinking is the toughest job there is. And therefore, it's easy, just someone says it, I did it. Don't make me apply my buddhi. If I have to apply my buddhi, too much work. So these are the reasons why people get caught up in blind belief. Either one, it inherently agrees with what I believe in. So I have an existing belief pattern and this statement is aligned to it. Therefore I accept without thinking. That is based on a like and a dislike. That's not based on inquiry. So that's accepting it because it's based on like and dislike. The second one is because I want something from the teacher. The teacher, preacher, messenger, whoever that is. I want some affection. I want some good standing with that person. Therefore, I just accept what they say. And the last reason why we accept blind faith is we're lazy. We don't want to think. These are the reasons why people take up blind belief. Shraddha is not blind belief. In Shraddha, you have to think. Vichar Purvaka Shraddha. You have to think. Thinking is essential. You have to apply your viveka, your discrimination, and your, what do you call it? Uha poha vichakshanaha. We saw that in Vivek Chudamani. One who can argue both for and against the topic at hand. We must have this. This is the difference between the two. So in Shraddha, what we call Shraddha here, it is vichara sahitam, with vichar, with inquiry, with thinking, with questioning, with logical backing. That's Shraddha. Blind belief, vichar rahita, no thinking, no reason. Okay? So here when we are discussing Shraddha, we are not discussing blind belief. So don't get that confused. I will use the word faith. Please understand, it requires thinking. Okay? So now what does the statement say? Atmajnane pravrittaha yaha. He who is engaged in the pursuit of self-knowledge, Shraddha samdharaye dradham, must have firm faith. Why? There's a very famous statement from the Gita. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. In the 4th chapter of the Gita, you will find this statement. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. The person who has faith attains knowledge. Nanyatedam, nanyata idam sunishchitam. Not otherwise. If you don't have it, you will not get it. Yeah? So this is a statement. You must have this faith in order to get knowledge. Now we should be clear, okay, that what is this knowledge and what is this faith? So it says faith, one definition is Shrad, Shrat, Sat, Dadhati. Which means what? Shrat means the truth. Dadati, gives. That which gives you the truth. Dha can also mean dharayate, that which upholds the truth. So that which upholds the truth, that which gives the truth, called Shraddha. Because via this Shraddha, you will get the truth. In simple language, we can also say trust. You have to trust. Now, when does trust come in? Trust comes in when your reasoning has reached its limits. So when logic has reached its limits, then Shraddha takes over. Okay? When logic reaches its limits, faith must take over. We live in a very scientific age, and there's a big misconception we have. And that is the misconception that logic is conclusive. It's a big misconception we have with our thinking. That anything that is logical is correct. Anything that is rational is correct. Anything that is reasonable is correct. That is not the truth. Not the truth. So actually, in science does not use logic to establish the truth. Science uses experience to establish the truth and explains that experience with logic. But the truth is established via experience. We know hundreds of years ago in Western culture, they considered the world to be flat. And then certain phenomenons took place which led them to question that. Yeah? And one was the shadow on the moon. When they saw the shadow on the moon, they started wondering why this shadow was curved. So the experience of the shadow on the moon led to people saying, wait a minute, we must now do inquiry. Why is there a curved shadow on the moon? And they realized the shadow is coming from the earth. And if the earth is giving a curved shadow, therefore, there's a problem with this. We can't take the earth to be flat. People started traveling. And as they traveled in one direction, they made their way back to the same place. And they found this was also very confusing. The ship sets out sail east, goes all the way east, and comes back to the same direction. Now, on a flat thing, if you go in one direction, you can't come back. The only way you can come back is if you've done a loop. These were experienced. After they had this experience, they then had to explain them. And that's where logic came in. But logic did not establish that the world is round. Experience established the world is round. Logic explained it. This is how all science works. All advanced scientific thinkers understand this. However, most of us are not advanced scientific thinkers. We are basic scientific thinkers. So as basic scientific thinkers, we generally have a notion that logic is conclusive. And that's why we read anything that says scientifically proven. Our faith just goes into those words. If it says scientifically proven, we subscribe to it. Yeah? Because our faith is in that. That's where our faith is. But I was just talking to someone who's PhD in research. And that PhD in research, he was telling me, that actually they never use logic to establish conclusion. Conclusion is already there. They then just fit the logic to agree to the conclusion. Conclusion's already made. He was saying even in scientific research, a person can have a pet theory. You've heard about people having pet theories? And when they have a pet theory, they've already made their conclusion. Then after that, they just find logic to support their conclusion. How do you refute that? You have to bring another piece of evidence, a phenomenon, which says, wait a minute, this phenomenon does not agree with your theory. Therefore, theory has to be reevaluated. That's how science works. Okay? And that's why as long as the evidence is not available, we can believe in simple things. But the minute the evidence is provided, all of a sudden everything has to change. And that's how science has always worked. It's always updating itself. Currently, human beings have found the oldest living remains in Africa. And therefore, the scientific theory is that the cradle of origin of man is Africa. If tomorrow the oldest living Homo sapien is found in India, then the entire theory will have to be rewritten. But because that evidence is not available, the theory doesn't have any credibility. But once evidence comes, everything changes. And so, how do we operate as beings? We operate based on fact and experience. We then use logic to explain it. Okay? So logic is not conclusive. This is the main point. Logic is not conclusive. Okay? Now, how does Shraddha play a place in all this? Because logic can only take you to a certain point. After that point, logic can only take you to a certain place. After that, the quality that is required is called faith. To get you to that truth, faith is then required. But it's not devoid of logic. Faith is built on logic. But it's when you've got to the top of logic, and to keep on going, that requires faith. And why this is so important in the field of Atmajnana, self-discovery, because here we are trying to research, investigate, and experience something which is beyond the intellect, called Atma, Brahman. Because we are looking for something beyond the intellect, where does logic lie? In the intellect. Therefore, logic is going to hit a barrier. That logic will hit a barrier, and then after that, it will stop. It will not be able to keep going. Therefore, another vessel is required to take you. It's like this. Your car can take you all the way to the ocean, but your car can't take you across the sea. So you drive your car all the way to the ocean, and then what? Stop, get out, take another vessel. Logic can take you to a great extent, but then it stops. Beyond that, you'll have to take the vessel called Shraddha.